And this is kind of one of my favorite topics because this is something I personally struggled with. Like,
Mm,
as I got into this profession, and I almost felt betrayed by my healthcare providers because I was always told, oh, you're fine. And I was not fine. I was not fine in many different ways. And what I came to understand about traumatic brain injuries, and first I want to take the word trauma away from it because that psychologically puts an image in our mind that whatever you consider traumatic then must be a brain injury. And that's just not necessarily true.
mhm.
So let's talk about brain injuries, right? So who has a brain injury? I think we both have toddlers. And I think we've seen that it's confusing. Now, it's not the same for toddlers because you can't really injure things that don't exist yet. But um, we see how much they hit themselves, and you're in the trenches right now in the oh my God, don't touch, oh my God, don't climb, oh my God, the and so what I like to relay to people is we're not very different from toddlers. We're not very different. We just have more mature neurological processes. But when we suffer injury, even if you don't consider it to be injury, that is still something that needs to be checked because our brain is not an organ that we can visualize the same as a finger, the same as, we can do lab work for a heart, we can do lab work for the pancreas or anything like that. So it needs to be assessed. And there's a lot of different things. Now, who can get a traumatic brain injury? Anyone, and what is required to have a concussion, which is classified under traumatic brain injury. A concussion is a synonym to mild traumatic brain injury. So you have your mild, moderate, and severe. So, yeah, there is a difference in between a head penetrating wound or maybe a veteran that has been exposed to a sequela of brain injuries through blast exposures. But even the typical day-to-day person that maybe have just played sports or had a motor vehicle accident, or honestly, you slipped in your shower, really, it could be that simple. We still have to check the integrity of our brain because it's not so much did I have an injury is how did my brain recover? How resilient was my brain to that? And what was my nutrition at time of injury? Am I male, female at time of injury? Am I going to be, was I in a high stress mode at that time of injury? That all is going to dictate how brain injuries recover. And so I want to always get people's minds away from like, well, it's not a traumatic-ish injury, so I must be okay. I want people to start thinking about their brains in the sense that, well, I go pretty much most of the time, well, most people should go every 6 months to their dentist to make sure they have good dental health or they at least see them yearly. Why don't we treat our brains the same way? It is the operating system. It's one of the first things when we come to life. It's one of the last things to go when we die. So we need to make sure that our brains are operating at a high level.